tonight. Obviously a pretty close game earlier on between BDS and VP. Close in the sense of BDS almost making it. It was far from close in the result. It was 7-2 to BDS. We'll see how Wolves fare on the defensive side, though. They're going to start us off in the bans here. Their attacking ban is going to be the DKB.
DKB will be the first one to go.
Very strong operator at the moment.
We will follow up with an MNM attacker going as well. We will see who that is. It's going to be Iana. Okay, taking away a few nades.
Don't hate it. You know, nades are only on 4 operators in the game at the moment, and they are pretty obnoxious to deal with at the best of times. As you've seen players like Benja going fishing with the operators, like Nook an awful lot. Iana's always up there as well. It's not too surprised to see that. Got to admit, Alibi has the coolest operator background. Having the 2 kind of decoy Geminis in the background, not Geminis, just the 2 of the decoys in the background, they're sick.
We're going to have Pulse as our final ban coming in from Wolves then, and that will round things out for us. A few unusual picks in there. Pulse, I can see the value on Villa. We see Pulse played underneath quite often in and around Piano, Library, in Kitchen, just trying to find those C4s. We also see Pulse used quite a lot on the Kitchen dining site itself to, again, deal with those attackers up on the top floor, trying to take vertical control, give the information of anybody trying to feed in through pantry or anywhere else. So this sort of makes sense, but slightly unusual at the same time.
Yeah, also because there's 2 very powerful operators right now in general. So them off the board means we might see a little more spice coming into the lineup here for either side. We start things off in Trophy and Statuary, Tim. It's interesting because this is the site we were talking about earlier for G2 when Fresh shared the stat with us that G2 just refused to play this site. They will go to every other, as they did earlier, and we'll always try and avoid going on to Trophy and Statuary. But that is where things will start off. It's where MNM will begin their assault of walls and looking to get some of those juicy points to try and push their way up through their own group.
This sort of, I don't think it's the worst starting position for Wolves here. They've got the defence of Villa. They need to not lose a round. It's at least probably about as it is a tall order, but by starting on defence, I think it gives them the opportunity to put the best foot forward. I think it's really giving them every opportunity. Every opportunity makes it sound likely, which it's not.
Yeah.
But it's at least, as good as it's going to get, I think is probably the better phrase.
I think in a funny way, actually, M&M are the only team across both groups that, coming into the day, their game literally means nothing. They lose, they don't drop below second, they
stay
win.
Where they are.
They can't get into first. They just do not move at all. So if you're a Wolves fan and you're looking for a little bit of hope, a reason to believe, take that as one. Again, in that for M&M, this game literally means nothing, and therefore they may not try as hard as they might do normally against stronger opposition.
The likelihood of them not dropping around is probably slim, though. We will see as we go. Wolves unable to secure a win as of yet. Currently sit on 2 points down at the bottom of the table. This could give them the opportunity, to be fair, Des, to jump above Koi. If Wolves, there is a world where they pick up the win, they don't get the 7-0 win, so they don't get 3rd place, but they could get 4th.
Again, remembering the difference between last chance qualifiers and open qualifiers is the overall standing. It does matter. It
does matter, of course it does. To see Koi going into 5th place and open quals would be a surprise. I think, everybody would agree that from day one that would have been a surprise. Mowgli is going to get that all-important first kill. It's taken a minute and a half. Manages to take down Nathan. In goes Solitov.
Freebie.
Right place, right time. Tyrant finds Mowgli as a late trade. The kills keep coming. Tyrant gets another dead shot. Does pick up Solitov in the midst of all that. But the Valkyrie just overextending a little bit there. Tyrant is keen to get that kill finished off. P4 half health now. Full white flash is going to be chased down. Will be found from the other side.
And there we go.
That's that done.
Didn't take long. Right, wrap it up, Milos. Let's go home.
That is... No, we've still got the opportunity, though, for them to leapfrog over Koi. Must remember that. Wolves will lose the first round. That means they cannot take 3rd place. They cannot go through to those decider playoffs for those major spots. But what Wolves can still do is jump over Koi in the standings. They can grab 4th place. They can avoid finishing in bottom. But also, as you've said, Des, it is the difference between open qualifiers and last chance qualifiers. So it just skips you a little bit further down the road, does grabbing 4th place. So Wolves are still going to be fighting hard for it. The question is, I don't think that will really have had a blow. I don't think losing that opportunity at the deciders will have really had much of a blow on the team, because I think ultimately they'll have known that that was like, you know, an extreme opportunity. It was just, you know, all the stars had to align. I think their focus really is always going to have been on winning this map, you know, getting something out of it to take them into 4th place.
Well, I was just looking at kind of these standings and how they currently sit. That means that now 6 teams going through to the next stages are G2, VP, and Heroic. And then from Group B, it's Wild, MNM, and Team Secret. As you said, the one interesting thing to note is whether or not WOL slip below Koi here or not. Now, obviously, if they go on and win, then great. They're getting themselves points on the board. It's not going to hurt too much. The one thing to note when saying that is that they are in a pretty difficult, well, talk about difficult, in a difficult spot where they can't actually move up or down the table at all. The only thing they're fighting to avoid here is falling below Koi. If they lose this game, I think at 7 and 5 it would force the head-to-head and they would win out that head-to-head because WOL's lost to them. So WOL's actually have to win this game in any way, shape, or form. In fact, if they go to overtime, it's also okay. But if they lose
anything, they just need anything.
Yeah, anything that isn't losing in regulation, and they stay above Koi. But I don't think it matters. I think both bottom 2 places both go to open quals anyway.
Okay, there you go then.
Well, there's a team on 1 point, which is TT9. I'm going to keep on browsing, Tim.
You keep on browsing. Here we go then. Nello's going to keep on browsing, and he's going to find himself something that he wants to take. It's going to be Mowgli. Nerf manages to find Jinka as well. 4 versus 3. MNM have got themselves established inside of Pantry and can start pushing forward there. Bibu knows that there's going to be a Lion pushing into him. Manages to find the kill on Nello, but elsewhere MNM are getting busy. It's 2 versus 2 now, though, as Bibu manages to find himself a couple inside of sight. Solotov, his latest victim, and that leaves us now with Users and Nif looking to close this out, but they are at a disadvantage in terms of hit points as well. They've both taken some damage along the way, and those chips can really add up.
Well, down to a 2 versus 1. Users and Nif in control here as well. Probably aware of one. Now there's definitely aware of where Bibu is now that he's taken a few pot shots up in towards Kitching and to find one of himself. But here we go on towards a Clitchel Ace coming out. And Bibu does manage to chain those 2 kills together. Sure, it's bittersweet, but it's still an ace, another one that he has in his repertoire. I was looking again, by the way. Nope, got a bit confused earlier. No matter what happens, if you don't make it into the top 3 of a group, you are in open qualifiers, not last chance. So the last chance spot goes to the
deciders that drop out.
Exactly that. It goes to teams tomorrow that lose their games.
Yes, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
So, as you said, nothing really to be gained for Wolves here then. Interestingly, MNM unusually losing a 1v.
I think you get €2,500 less if you finish very bottom.
Yeah.
What were you two player laughing?
I was chuckling to Fresh about my slight jibe at MNM there.
What was it?
Very unusually losing a 1vx situation.
Yeah, for those who don't know, they are the kings of throwing away things like 4v1s.
They have a little bit of a habit of it.
Yeah, I don't even know why it's specifically happens to them.
2v1 then, I was in my head I was screaming, push him at the same time, and I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't. They gave him the 1v1s, and this is what we always talk about. If you are the one in a 1vx situation, you need to try and isolate those fights. Bibu didn't really have a choice to actually try and isolate them himself. He was pretty much cornered. There was no way out of there. He just had to take the fights as they were presented. Had they stepped up from Memorial and the Ash had pushed from Kitchen at the same time, there's no way that he can win both of those fights. It just needs a 3-2-1. You both push at the same time and one of you comes away with the kill, unless, you know, Bibu has a miracle. Unfortunately, they gave him both of the 1v1 opportunities. He closed it out. It was a nice ace for him. He'd had a couple of good kills inside of sight as well, so well played from Bibu.
Alrighty, fun little setup coming out from MNM in this round 2. Looking towards the Brava and the Oster, namely, as the 2 things that are going to be working in tandem, potentially looking to try and target out the Jammers, the ADSs, the Banshees coming out of walls, for example. So a couple of things the Brava can get hungry for and keen to go after. Solotov already one of those out on the board, but not currently sat on those, and also with the Jackal on side as well to deal with players like P4, the ones who like to rat it out in the basement and who are impossible to find unless you have a Jackal.
It's handy, Des, that they've got a Jackal then. Tyrant's going to be needed to get down there and, as you say, try and track down that Melusi. But that sort of almost relies on finding the Melusi to begin with. You know, you've got to be aware that they're there to spend the time and effort chasing them down. As it is, Tyrant's on the mid floor, hasn't gone down to the basement, is going to be using the drones for the time being. We'll find, I was going to say the player on red stairs, but I think the drone just actually turned and went in the opposite direction. It's a reasonable assumption nonetheless that somebody will be in that position. Tyrant is more concerned with these lower floors, and he's absolutely right to be. I can only assume from the angle that Users is holding that they're aware that P4 is down there, but as you said, there's get the Jackal down there, look for the footprints. You know, they're not really being active enough in this for me.
What a beautiful view of the sky. Tyrant's bringing down one, traded straight back out as well by P4 after a little bit of back and forth between the two sides. 4v4, 60 seconds still to play. MNM losing yet another member, but again, the trades and the back and forth between the two teams just keep on coming through. Wolves do walk away with the numbers advantage. Let's see if Nello and Users can pull this one out the bag.
Mowgli just looking to hold that angle for the time being. Just looking to keep hold of that. That's exactly what he wants, is that verticality that he's got inside of the vault. Hoping to be able to deny any plant attempt that might come in. And he is positioned well for it. Nello with the diffuser out on that side of the map. And I think, you know, going to be looking to get himself inside a site. He's going to use the cover of smoke. He's got a shield, so that verticality is going to be absolutely wasted. There's probably very little that can be done here. P4 is going to push across. Kills come in, uses Nello. Nello comes off the diffuser. We now find ourselves in a 1v1. It's Deadshot versus Nello, but Nello able to find that final kill. A better round from MNM. They close it out this time and looking pretty solid so far on Villa.
Well, either team now winning from a numbers disadvantage, so there is that. That was a 3v2 for Wolves. That, forgetting the previous round, was a 2v1 for MNM. Both teams have now lost rounds like that. Let's go figure.
Yeah, MNM. I mean, overall, MNM, I'm you know, I'd like to say they're going to be pretty satisfied with how this group stage has gone. Second only to Wild, like you say, guaranteed of that coming into today as well, so it sort of takes the pressure off. You know, they know that they're already going to be in those decider matches tomorrow. And I think since coming into EUL last year, for those who maybe haven't been around as long, MNM came into EUL at the beginning of last year after, you know, the longest sort of slog through the regional leagues, through the Challenger League. You know, this is an org that's been around Siege for a long time and has really put the time and effort into building rosters. You know, they'd got to EUL before and had the roster bought away by, you know, another org.
By Na'Vi back in the day.
Yeah, by Na'Vi came in and took over that spot. And, you know, so MNM for the longest time were looking to get established inside of EUL. You know, that's the story of this organisation, really. And I've got to say, they've actually done fantastically well after getting here. You know, they've been to a number of events now. They're becoming, you know, pretty much commonplace at those events. And again, they come in here second place in the first group stage of stage 1 this year. They really have cemented themselves as regulars, and it's great to see.
The thing is, MNM have made 10 AM feel terrifying. And not just as a wake-up time, but also as a time to play Siege, apparently. They feel like the cursed team that cannot win a game that starts at 10 AM. So there's always that. They brought a little bit of fun for us and a couple of memes along the way as well. Here we go, with Nello starting to put a bit of pressure here inside a pantry, where there was a player hanging off towards the stairs a second ago. I think he's been forced back ever so slightly. Out comes the Lion scan as they're trying to divide these players in half, catch them slightly isolated, and then look to collapse on the one that's all by themselves. That was a fun little hiccup.
Well timed. In goes the clutch drone. The Brav are going to be trying to just capture a few electronics. Of course, with things like the Malusi on side, those Banshees will be golden opportunities to use that gadget, which will turn them over to the attacking side. So the Banshee all of a sudden will start to ensnare the defenders. But Nello, he manages to ensnare Deadshot there, managing to find a headshot takes him out, and that was a difficult one. As I said, headshot, I thought, that's not right. And then I thought, no, it is right.
A head what, Tim?
A headshot.
I heard him say head shit as well, don't worry.
No, I very much doubt that. Very much doubt that.
Oh, Tim.
It's 5v3, Des.
Perfect facade is cracking. Carry on, mate. Just don't talk about that player ever again.
It's a 5v3 and going to be MNM just trying to, again, continue the push. They've cleared out the roamers largely. There's one at the bottom of Astro Stairs, not really a roamer. They'll expect him to be holding that position. It's Bibu who, of course, did them a lot of damage in previous rounds, but they've got the triple wall open. They can look to get inside. Tyrant's still fishing underneath for nade kills, but Naif's going to stick this plant attempt, I think. P4 not able to get there. Ooh, no, he does come off the plant, and that leaves us now 4 versus 2, but MNM more than likely very happy with this.
That was a real slip-up. I'm not sure which player it is that's playing inside a master bedroom, but letting P4 get into this spot where he can challenge onto the planter. Big mess up, and it's Solotov actually as well. A little bit uncharacteristic, because normally he's pretty snappy when it comes around to these gunfights. However, in he goes trying to make amends. There's only one player left standing. Even with that small slip-up, MNM still looking to dominate the round here on the attack. 3-1 they'll be after 4 rounds, Tim. Assuming, of course, Shinka doesn't clutch his absolute brains out.
We know that he's capable of it. We saw it at SI, but he's going to be taken down straight away by Solotov as the plant was going through as well. MNM, they're going to get themselves another round here on Villa, and they're looking pretty comfortable on the attack.
They are. I mean, it's a bit of a disparity to the last Villa that we saw, Tim.
Slightly.
Where it was all about the defence.
It was all defence, this time it's all attack, but in an alternative perspective, it's actually very similar in that MNM are starting to run away with this one.
They are, yes. Aviator Games are going to go to in round 5. Wolves taking us up there. They are looking to... Yeah, it's kind of... I was thinking, looks like they get things back on the board and get moving again, but it's kind of been the story of the stage for them. As I mentioned earlier on, they are, I think, one of only 2 teams that do not have a victory in this group stage, the other team being TT9, as we all know. So, to have 2 points on the board, both of them coming from overtime losses, is a bit of a kick in the face in the first place. To now be at a spot where you're going to have lost 2 games in overtime and now lose 2 games in regulation, it's going to sting. And I guess a fun conversation to have, Tim, would be, are Wolves really missing Rise?
I think...
But when I say that, I'm not trying to say that Deadshot's a problem, by the way.
No, not at all. I think,
but are they missing Rise?
Let me follow on by saying that... it feels like, you know, outside looking in, maybe going to be scratching their heads a little bit. You know, we've made this change and it's had a massive impact. You know, it seems to have had a massive impact. Like you said, is that down to the individual that's gone? Is that down to just other factors? You know, we don't know. We're not on the inside of that. And as I've said before for Wolves, you know, they came into EUL last year. And again, an org that I've been very impressed with the way that they do things, the coverage that they've put in, the depth and understanding they've had of the game and everything. It's been great to see Wolves involved. So yeah, a little bit of a shame to see that, you know, they had a sort of a good year last year on the whole, you know, very competitive most of the time, lands excluded sometimes, but generally, you know, always there or thereabouts, and they've just seemed completely off the pace this time.
The only reason I'm happy about it is because they are a rival football club.
So does that count? I mean, we're not even. It's not even sports in sports. It's, you know, we're in esports here.
That's still like
it's not even the same world.
It's still like 6 out of 7 sports, though, isn't it? You just throw an E at the front. It doesn't change the rivalry, Tim.
I feel like it changes everything.
Can't wait for Aston Villa esports. That's what I want. I think they're in FIFA, but not in Siege, as we all know.
Solotov is going to take out the Banshee, continue the push up red stairs, get himself pretty direct towards site. Beautiful reverse angle shot from Mowgli, though. Knew that the challenge was coming in from Wolf window and manages to take the man down.
All right, looks like maybe Wolves are going to start fighting back here as well then. Vault being opened up. Now they've seen at least one of those drained away for a second. However, it will give him the angle that he needs to start looking to challenge him. But as we all know, his army is there. A little bit mistimed on that front as well. I wonder if he sees him just through a small pixel angle. Do you see the feet? No, narrowly misses it. And looks like Nello might not be able to push him through Vault. Going to have to find a different way around.
Yeah, not looking good for MNM, to be fair. It's 3 hits for anybody who doesn't know the keeper barricades that go up. It's 3 hits that it takes to take them out. So it's not as strong as a castle barricade, for example, but obviously much quicker to apply. Pretty quick like this defence from Wolves, managing to get a couple of kills there and leave themselves now 4v1. Ooh. There's the final one. Big round from Mowgli, all the way from that first one that he picked up at the top of red stairs. Closes out the round for Wolves, and they keep themselves in this.
Pretty sharp shot there coming out from Mowgli. A couple across the round as well. The one that you touched on earlier on inside of Aviator itself. Sure, up to 3-2. It's still not an ideal situation you'd be in, but if they could pull this back to a 3-3, maybe suddenly you start thinking there is a chance here that Wolves can keep this one alive and again, avoid losing in relegation. Because if that happens, they fall a spot lower. It's not the end of the world. They lose out on €2,500, 500 each, all the rest of it. Worth noting, in case you are wondering exactly what the difference is there, it's €7,500 if you finish in the bottom two, and 10,000 if you finish in 7th and 8th. It'll pay for a nice dinner or two.
I'm certain it would.
You and a partner.
The thing is, it's not even necessarily just about that. You know, players at this level, it's just that pure competition. It's fighting for every round, for every point, for every kill, for every place. For, you know, they're just, it's sort of almost bred in, you know, it's just an instinct to go out there and try to win, to get as high up a table as you can, because it's there to be climbed.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I know Rise, again, to come back to the player that left Wolves not too long ago, he was saying, you know, no, I'm a little bit older, but I've still got that competitive fire inside me. I still want to compete. I still want to win. And I'm sure if you look at a lot of these players and say, look, do you want to win a couple $100 for playing a tournament? They'll be like, yeah, but as you say, for them, it's not really about that. It's about the competition. It's about the love of the game itself and just that feeling of winning. That's the kind of stuff you remember on your deathbed, not so much how much money they make from that tournament,
like
right?
I say, obviously the financial element is important and the prizes are fantastic. But stick these guys in a ranked match and they'll play every round like it's the last and they want to win it. It's just you don't get to this level of competition without being that competitive. You just don't.
Nope. Speaking of, let's see if we can get this wall open up then, boys. That's your first competition to work through in the round, where Bibu is sat there waiting with the Bandit battery, just waiting to trick as soon as we hear those Salmons start coming through. Here comes the first one, and Bibu will just turn to his right, drop down the battery, and it will destroy whatever is stuck on the other side of that wall. Wall stays closed, no one allowed.
Pretty easy for Wolves there. MNM not picking up that it was likely to be the case by the looks of things. They do have impact EMPs, which aren't ideal. They're not the perfect tool against a bandit trick, for example, but could have assisted at least. Really what they need to do to move Bibu along is to get above him and just get that. There you go. You can hear the impact EMPs going off on the triple wall, and that's going to help them get the top floor control, which means they can then force Bandit out of position. But all the Selmas are gone.
Well, interestingly for Bibu as well, once he got the trick down onto that single pantry, well, he did back. Let's say he did back straight off there and say, right, I'm off towards, what's it called? I literally said the name of the room earlier. Not museum. Oh, what's it called? Where there's like things with the sheets over them.
In the sheets over them.
South of dining.
Memorial.
Memorial, that's the word. I was going to say mausoleum.
Things in the sheets over them.
Yeah.
Things in the sheets
I was saying museum, then I said museum.
Split all over again.
The thing is, I called it the right word earlier, but I was just like, is it museum, mausoleum? I was like, that's not right. What word is it?
Definitely not. It's not.
Look, mate, I'd say it's late at night, but it's a lie because the night has been really quick. But it's a game that, yeah. You know where I'm going with that.
At this point, we've got Solotov looking to get entrance into there. It could have been a mausoleum had he gone in. The angle was being watched.
Nice.
Don't you worry about it, Des. I'm here all night. Solotov instead going to take up...
Yeah?
Sorry?
Nothing, carry on.
Solotov going to take up an alternative ankle instead. He's going to move his way through but not be able to find the kill, and Shinka just keeps dancing the dance of death with him here as they try to find the angle onto each other, and just going to detonate that Goyo canister to prevent the push coming in. Tyrant taken out, 3 versus 2 now in favour of Wolves.
Looks like it's going to be done and dusted, though. The problem, I know it's 3 versus 2, but they've not got the clock on their side. Couple of kills coming out. Oh, Nath! If they got that one, different story. We're in all of a sudden, but Solotov's got a drop. Finds one, won't be able to find any more. Easy peasy, done and dusted for Wolves. They bring it up to 3-3.
Yep, Deadshot finding the final kill there. Nice little defence from Wolves, not over-committing. We saw the little dance between Shinka and Solotov. Burnt an awful lot of time. Didn't give anything away. Much better from Wolves there. And they actually level things up 3-3 at the half. And there's a real opportunity for them to keep pushing on here. They get themselves onto the attack. May find it a little bit more difficult, I guess, on Villa. But overall, a bit more impressed with Wolves than what I've seen the last couple of play days. Memorial.
I know. It's like one thing that always gets me on this map, trophy and statuary. I think is I know so many people that still confuse the two rooms. I think because inside a statue, there's a statue that looks like it could be a trophy of some kind, without thinking that...
possibly.
Because a trophy, more commonly, as we know it, is like an actual...
A cup, or rather than, in this case, an animal.
The trophy of an animal, like a head or something. I still confuse them all the time. Even though I know that definitively on the left is trophy and right is statuary, you're just naturally in the flow of casting saying the wrong way around. It's great.
Here we go.
What do you think it's called Memorial, though?
I don't know.
Is like...
There's not really a memorial in there.
That's what I mean. That's why why is it memorial? That's why when I was thinking about the name of it, I was like, hang on, is it mausoleum? Is it music? Like, what is it? Hang on a minute. It's like, I'm pretty sure outside...
Have a little look in there. I mean, there's a couple of paintings in there that we can see, Medics, thank you. The other stuff's all covered up, so it's sort of difficult to say what it is.
Yeah, well, paintings aren't really a memorial, though, are they?
Maybe it's... I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit of hidden... I don't know.
What's another funny one that I don't understand? Have a think. Blue. There is definitely another one I can think of. I just can't remember what it was. When it comes back to me, I'll tell you. We'll have a talk about it.
Round 7, we've got Wolves on the attack now. They're going to be going in with the clutch drone, not having enough time to be able to capture the default cam there. P4 might give it another go, but I imagine that space is going to be watched quite closely. Mowgli sends a drone on just very briefly into sight, I think, just to have a little look at the setup. Going to see that there's a man at the top of main stairs as well. So at the minute, Wolves just using those drones, just as you say, teasing him a little bit, trying to just see exactly what the setup is. Deadshot manages to get in with a kill onto Nello. A couple of times he's been able to best him so far on this map. Zolatov manages to get one of his own onto Mowgli, though, leaving us 4 versus 4.
He's now holding across towards the south study balcony as well. Shinka's managed to get himself around to the east one as well, so he can contest on towards main stairs. That crossfire being established somewhat inside a study, assuming, of course, someone gets back on that south wall. But Solotov, for now, is largely unbothered. You don't have the angle from the window to be able to get the player sat in behind the shield, behind the maps table. So it's slow going for Wolves. Still wouldn't half the round to play, though. I wouldn't feel too beat up about that. Still lots of time to play. And 3 Roteros in back pocket for Shinka, one of which I'm sure should be dedicated towards getting rid of that shield that is sat inside of Aviator itself.
Nerf just holding the angle to try and cover anybody coming in from that study door at the minute. Very lucky not to lose his life there as bullets whiz past his face. But Solotov, he manages to take down Deadshot, giving MNM the advantage on the defence here. 1 minute left to go, and Wolves maybe back to the drawing board a little bit. Finally get the deployable shield on maps, and that's just going to force Solotov to drop a little bit deeper, but that doesn't help them but at all, Des, as Solotov manages to find an absolute beauty. Shut down before he can find the 4K, though. It's all up to Bibu as he moves on into sight. He's going to be challenged from a number of angles here. This could be dangerous. There's a man in vault. Out comes the smoke canister and takes a little tickle of damage away from him.
Yeah, shot in the backside there as he rounded back out inside a study. I think he's moving out here to try and find a better angle, but no one's giving him an inch, and why would they? There's 3 of them left. The clock's down to 20 seconds. He can do almost nothing here by himself. No diffuser in hand either. Doesn't want to grab it either. I think expecting to know that he's got to win some gunfights if he has any chance of winning this round. He does not. MNM regain the lead up to 4 and 3.
I think Bibu was lucky to be alive for as long as he was there. As you say,
I just remember to call out.
Go on.
So, you know, people call it all kinds of different names, but like mining/wheel on Cafe.
Yeah.
The room towards red stairs.
Mining and wheel. Do you mean multiple names for the same thing?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
I'm not saying no. That I'm trying to get you a point of reference.
Mining and fireplace being the actual site.
The small hallway above it is called museum.
All right. Okay.
That's a weird one.
Yeah.
Doesn't look much like a museum to me. The in-game call-out was museum.
Above it.
Yes, you know when you go towards red, you go through wheel, through the double door, then walk down towards red. That whole thing is called museum.
Right, okay.
I don't know why that's...
Sorry, it was the description of being above it that confused me.
Yeah, okay, above it, fine.
I thought, no, piano.
I'm thinking when I'm looking top down and saying above.
I thought piano and red stairs are above it. That's
how else would you describe it? Next to... Well, you say next to it, it could be any room. Because they're all next to it.
Yeah.
So what would you say? You could say north of it if you wanted to.
Yeah, maybe. Even the corridor outside would have been difficult because there's still 2. Depends which way you go out. There's 2 double doors.
That's why I said the corridor above it.
Yeah.
If you're looking at it top down, it is actually
if you're looking at it top down.
Which is how we spend most of our time looking at the game.
Yeah. It's fair, but it just confused me a bit.
Yeah, I just don't know why it's called museum.
I thought 3D.
Why do you think it's called museum?
I was in the 3rd dimension.
Very good. That is
I don't know why it's called museum, Des.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
I don't know.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
We'll have to, if we meet the level designer at any point, we'll have to ask.
That's a great... I wonder if I've got like a level design at ubisoft.com that I can email.
Just email and ask why call outs are there.
Yeah.
P4 is going to take down users as the entry to kick things off. 5 versus 4. Wolves getting a better start this time on the attack. Nice early man advantage. They need to build on that. Let's get inside the map quickly, Wolves. Get things going, take control, get them. Don't drive into the mute jammers.
Solid guidance for life, that.
You need
the drone.
The drone disablers.
That's the one.
We saw the Flores drone disabled there, and that's going to be one lost for Bibu.
Now staring down the barrel, or down his barrel to a laser gate. This is between Bibu and Away inside of the building here as well. But for now, they'll be able to burn through that. I'm sure he's got flashes sat in back pocket. He's got 3 of those. For now, back onto the Roteros and looking to chew through some more. Naples taking a little bubble bath there, but now the steps his way across it towards playing inside of Cubby, just to try and get rid of some of those ex-Kairos that were scattered onto the bathroom wall.
Again,
they look undeterred so far. MNM.
Yeah, MNM are pretty happy where they are. Yes, they're a man down, but Wolves just feel like they're stalling out a little bit. We're halfway through the round, still not a foot stepped inside the map. You can see from here all 5 players are still outside on those balconies, on the rappel. I don't know, it just feels like they've stalled out. Maybe, try and push somebody up red stairs, try and push somebody in through study, just try and mix it up a bit, or wait for Nath to just give himself away. I don't know, whatever you want.
Got a lot of freebies being given, but I think the actual setup is pretty rock solid from MNM. 2 castles coming down, the laser gates, you name it, the frost mats, anything they can to try and impede the other side, all working wonders at the moment. C4 comes out, half HP taken away from P4.
Solotov just holding that position, so synonymous with Alamo now. We've seen him do it with the Azami so many times. Solotov not able to really have the same sort of impact from there, as ultimately it's Mowgli who's going to be able to cut him down. 5 versus 2, 4 versus 2 as Tyrant finds Bibu, but that will be all he does as P4 moves in with his 3rd of the round. There's a 4K possible for him. It's Nello that's the last alive, coming around the corner, taken down by Mowgli, and Wolves are going to level things up. 4-4 on the scoreboard, and neither of these teams want to give an inch, and I'm finding it actually pretty enjoyable so far. We're into a little bit of a war here, and we're getting some big moments.
3K in the round, sorry, for P4 as well. I think what I liked about the attack coming out of Wolves was it was slow. And that sounds weird to say that you like an attack that is slow, but it was more just like, look, we haven't got to go bananas here. We've got 2 or 3 of us trying to work on Master Bedroom. 1 of us sat on the Astro Rappel, and we just wait and see what happens. We send a Rotero and we blow up a castle barricade. We see who moves. We capitalise as a result. And realistically, Wolves found 3 kills just playing that very patient, slow game. So full commendation to them there for not trying to rush things, not panicking, just letting MNM be the ones that move into them and picking up the freebies as a result. Down we go into Dining and Kitchen, and MNM is still sticking alongside this castle, really liking the capabilities that he's bringing into the team. Namely that it can indeed slow down attackers if they don't have things like the Ash or a Sledge on side to clear through those. There is an Ash on side, but no Sledge for the side of Wolves.
Yep, no Sledge. A couple of nades in the hands of Deadshot, which can be used to take out those castle barricades as well. We've got Shinka. It would be slightly overkill, really, to be using Selmas if you can avoid it, but still an option nonetheless. Tyrant stood right up at the window there, looking to get aggressive potentially. MNM, whilst nothing rides on this, I've said it before, I'll say it again, Des, winning is a habit. They've got to think about the game tomorrow. They've got to think about keeping themselves with that momentum pushing forward. Don't give away an opportunity to have a win and have that confidence.
I don't think it's a little odd as well when teams can sometimes get a little bit bananas about the amount of flank watch they've got here. You've got the Nomad on side, plus 4 Claymores coming out for the side of Wolves. Really not wanting to give MNM any room to breathe. Once Wolves have taken control of some ground, down go the Claymores, the air jabs, anything they can do to lock it down and deny it away from the defenders. So again, good game plan coming in from Wolves, but it all comes down to the execution, because now we're a third of the way through the round.
Certainly are. Time burning away again. As I said last round, Wolves felt like they'd stalled a little bit, but What looked like a stall turned out to be patience, but MNM surely going to have learnt the lesson this time around and not going to be giving away those opportunities for the cheap picks that Wolves were able to benefit from last time. Shinka is going to get that wall open. The impact nade that comes out to try and stop the Selmas will be unsuccessful the first time. The second will do a job, but the damage is done. The line of sight is there. It's not about gaining access to sight, isn't that wall? It is about the line of sight all the way through kitchen, and the fact that the defenders can't play in there and have got to be very careful rotating back in from Astro Stairs as well.
And they are completely out of impacts here. So that one last Salma in Shinka's back pocket, you could redirect that at the wall, and there's a very fair chance that no one on the side of MNM can do much about it. But like you say, maybe it's just coming down to a line of sight here. Doesn't give them direct 101 access, and I mean, that's unfortunate. Doesn't give them direct 101 access. Oh, you must be joking. Had two players immediately springing on there as well. It wasn't just Shinka, but there was the second player pushing up on the top side as well. Shinka wins out another one. Nath elsewhere does get rid of Deadshot, but I think at that point for Wolves, you're not going to complain. You've got 2 kills. You brought things back to a 3 versus 3.
Absolutely. MNM going to be trying to hold on, and holding on is not going to prove easy as P4 manages to take down user. Snaith with another one as well. He's brought the man count back twice now. Important position, important part that he's played for MNM inside of this round. But Wolves, they're in sight. They're able to start getting the diffuser down. Bibu's on the cover. Shinka's trying to get this one finished. Will be successful. That's now 2 guns inside a site that can defend this.
Wow.
We've got the direct trade between Shinka and Nello. It's all up to Bibu. He's against Nath. He manages to find that kill. Bibu just keeps winning rounds.
Whew. It's one of those days, Tim. It's just one of those days where Bibu is flying. Now, for Wolves, as we've already said, it needs to be a 7-0 to be able to fight their way back into things. They can't change the outcome of the groups, but they can at least look to end on a high. 5-4 they move up to, and this must be one of the most attacker-decided villas I think we've ever seen.
I'd agree with you. Yeah, very unusual. It was 3-3 at the split, and then now Wolves have had another 2 rounds on top. So yeah, absolutely. Usually we would expect to see the defensive advantage, but just not playing out that way here. We're going to Aviator Games then for round 10. We're going to have the Jaeger setting up. Nello getting those ADSs down on main stairs, which would suggest, of course, that we're going to have somebody at least playing over there. I think it was Nath last time on the smoke. He's on that operator again, so I'd expect to see him at the top of main stairs. Not really something Wolves were able to deal with.
No. I don't know why I chose a northern accent for that one.
I mean, it wasn't, but I don't know why you thought it was a northern accent would be closer to the point.
No.
No. I've never said no like that in my life.
You felt like that was such a forced way of saying no out of you then.
No.
It's like when I heard you say school properly.
No, because I know that I'm not going to say it properly, and you're going to laugh because I'm going to put an extra syllable in, because I can't help it.
Could you say school?
I'm not doing it.
Come on.
I'm not playing your game.
Entertain me.
I'm not playing your game.
What about bite?
Bite. There you go. You can do that.
Take a bite of that.
Yeah. School. There you go.
That was halfway there.
School.
Yeah. Now, you're still saying it. You're still saying it.
No, I did that. That was me saying it normally for you.
Right.
School.
Normally.
I know there's an extra syllable. School.
School.
It's as if I spell it.
You just insert a W.
It's as if I spell it S-K-E-W-L. School.
Yeah, or S-K-E-W-U-L.
Yeah.
School.
It's not right.
It's not right. Neither are you.
5 versus 4.
Neither's this round for M&M.
Solotop's going to be taken down to begin with. Not actually having a bad game so far. 8 and 9, at least getting involved. Had a few nice kills, but has taken the entry death a couple of times, I think, along the way as well. So M&M on the back foot a little bit here. This has been actually a huge round for Wolves here. As I've said, winning's a habit for M&M. They're going into that decider match tomorrow. Wolves are going into open quals. Like, they need the wins. They need the confidence. They need to start building. I won't say as a roster. They've still got 4 players together who've been, there for a reasonable length of time now. It's just Deadshot, obviously, that they're trying to get fit into everything and get running with, and I've no doubt that that's a challenge that they're going to overcome. But yeah, a win here ahead of those open qualifiers would be absolutely fantastic for Wolves, and this round would go a long way towards getting them there.
you've seen it against, well, for teams like Koi as well, who've made a change, right? You've essentially picked out a piece of your team, or even a couple of pieces in some cases, that are so pivotal to your play style that when you bring in a new player and look at them and go, yeah, that's the hole that you need to fill. I mean, nice shot. That's the hole that you need to fill, apparently the one in his brain. It's such a big expectation on those players. If they don't play that way that you need them to, suddenly you're starting to adapt the rest of your team around them. And that's when you see the kind of chaos pour over like you're seeing for Wolves a little bit. I think also the same somewhat coming out for the likes of Koi. They're trying to have to make such big, drastic changes that it's really just biting them in the backside.
It can take a lot of time, and I think, ultimately patience is important. I wouldn't like to see teams necessarily taking a knee-jerk reaction to stage one. They've played 4 games. They've played 4 best of ones. You've got to give it time. Those are not quite warm-up games, but that's you starting to build your team.
Tim, it's you
straight into the frost match. Shinka, I feel your pain. Final kill comes in from Tyrant. Solotov will be the last name on the kill feed, though, as it was his frost mat that got that final kill.
Alrighty, may have a rehost coming in. Time will tell. But it brings us all square. Tim at 5-5, which does suggest that overtime is on the way.
Certainly could be. Only one of these 2 teams is going to get an opportunity to close this out. We're just, I think, going to take a quick pause. Like I said, we've got a few ping issues, it appears, in the chat there. I think just waiting for confirmation of that rehost, but it looks like that will be the case. So we'll just go to a quick timeout whilst we get that done. But yeah, this is back to the point that I was making. You've got teams that have come in here as a new unit, essentially, like Wolves, a new player in place. Other teams as well. We've obviously had brand new teams. We've had teams with multiple changes like Koi. And ultimately, this group stage allows for 4 top-tier games. And those top-tier games are extremely important in learning, in gelling as a team, in, refining exactly what you're doing. So, yeah, I think as these teams get more games under their belt, I think they'll be absolutely fine.
Really important question for you, Tim.
Go on.
Who has got the best background?
Who has got the best background?
I'm kind of biased towards P4 because he has a one-piece background poster.
Okay.
And also has the little monster.
I'm not familiar with that.
I know you're not, don't worry.
I don't... Ooh. So, Usus looks...
To be fair, if I lean back, because obviously when you're leaning forward, the screens get darker. If you lean back and look at Bibu's, he's got sword. What else he got?
Yeah. So Usus looks quite spacious, so it looks quite comfortable in there.
Yeah, I thought that a little bit about Shinka. I'm actually half convinced. His head keeps getting in the way, but I think he's got some glasses on the table behind him, which makes me think it's a dining room.
Could be.
Or a dining room, as you'd say.
Exactly that.
No, there is glasses there. Yeah, that must be his dining room. Solotov's curtains aren't exactly opaque. So I imagine there's a world there where if someone was smart enough, they could watch through his window and see him play.
I mean, that'd be some lengths. That'd be some lengths to go to, wouldn't it?
It'd be impressive.
That'd be some lengths for a stream snipe.
Wouldn't it just? We'll find out what's going on in just a moment, guys, and keep you updated, as we said.
Yeah, I think we'll just be getting, I would guess, a remake of the lobby, and we can get everybody back in and get underway.
Waiting for the
5-5. If you've just joined us, you're quite late in joining us. Where have you been? Is the first question I'll ask you, because this is our last game of the day. It's Wolves versus MNM. It's 5-5 at present on the scoreboard. So only one of these 2 teams is going to get an opportunity to close this out in regulation, but they've been so close that it really wouldn't surprise me to see this go, as you said, to overtime.
Yeah, we heard Doki getting very excited that he hasn't got to play Virtus Pro, and if for those who are wondering, tomorrow we have 2 best of 3s, as we've already touched on. Those are Heroic versus MNM.
Ooh. That's good. That's a good game, that.
And Secret versus Virtus Pro.
Another one. 2 good games there.
That second one could be really interesting,
I think it is.
Because I think we've been shown today by BDS that it is very possible. Look, they're excellent gunners on Virtus Pro, but as has been the Russian curse in this game since 5 years ago, they're just very slow.
Time.
Excellent gunners, very, very slow. And for teams that play around that and learn to beat it, they're the ones who look great. Now, the winner of that game goes on to face Wild, which will be on Monday next week. Yes. And the winner of Heroic versus MNM, you poor unlucky souls, have to play against G2.
And I don't think anybody's going to be too keen at the prospect of playing G2 at the minute.
No.
Dorky touched on it himself, said that he felt that they'd played, a little bit poorly after the win at SI, but were now improving. And we saw that out of them today. It wasn't, I know that they played TT9. I know TT9 didn't play the best game. But the manner, how casual it looked for G2, players like Benja just, going around and just taking one after another, sort of easy kills. It was so casual and easy for G2 that I really wouldn't like to be playing against them. Yes. Yes. Finally.
I got myself. I was going to say, Benja never really looked like he dropped off. The team at large, I'm not saying individual players, but definitely as a team they did a little bit. But that was the curse that we always asked ourselves coming out of SI is, do G2 full foul in exactly the same way that every other team that has won an event has done? Looking back even at majors, teams generally haven't bounced back. I think FaZe came pretty close after winning Sweden, but fundamentally, as we know, just couldn't quite go on to do it in like Berlin, for example. Couldn't do it at SI, but take, for example, Koi. Didn't get super far at SI. You look at how some other teams did. Same story for BDS, who won the major in Jönköping back in November. G2 really, it's going to be the big test for them is, can they win the SI and then go on to win the next major? That'll be the big question, I think, on many fans' lips, given the popularity of that org.
I mean, there's, of course, the regional question as well. EU have been so dominant now for
3 in a row.
Months. Realistically, I think I can, at this point, use the word dominant for EU. 3 in a row, 6 months. It's time, surely, for another region now to be stepping up and saying, right, okay, enough's enough. It's time to change the guard, so to speak. And it's just a question of who that is going to be. Which region is it likely to be? Do EU come out and win another major? It wouldn't surprise me. Some of these teams are definitely capable, but I know there's going to be a lot of other region teams that are looking at that and thinking, no, that's it now.
I think we need to win another one, but have it be a different team. So we have 4 event winners in the space of 12 months.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Filthy. Bit of pressure coming in then. Straight away inside of Master as Mowgli is the one starting to fish around. You see a player holding nice and close here. As that shield now being taken away means that Solotov has to leave. So it's like playing chess. The movement of one piece forces all the others to readjust and balance around them as well. And here comes a pretty fast movement as well out of the side of Wolves. Not wanting to take this one slow as that gun sounds horrific, by the way. I do not like that sound in my ears.
We are starting to see a little bit more gridlock. Of course, worthwhile utility with the smokes, also able to shut down the
It's not even gridlock, it's Ying with the alternate gun.
Oh, sorry. It's a very similar operator icon.
It's late at night.
And it's late at night. It's a very similar operator icon. I just saw the spiky bits on the side.
I'm glad she said so I haven't got to listen to it anymore.
There you go. Tyrant is going to take down Deadshot. Solotov's gone as well. 4 versus 4 as Wolves look to, again, get themselves established inside of the map. They start to try that process, but Nello, he's going to slam the brakes on. He's going to send them off the rails there as he manages to find a kill onto B4, and that's going to be Nello with another Nello on a big round, looking to give MNM the advantage here. They want that map point opportunity, and right now Wolves, they are on the back foot. They're in master bedroom, but they're going to have to fight their way out.
This is the big one for them as well. I mean, 4 versus 2. You'd love to get excited, but we know MNM. We just know how this seems to play out every single time. As it stands here, Wolves taking things at least a little bit slower, both down to about that half HP mark is why it doesn't look particularly pretty. Bibu trained, he knows that someone is there waiting, and there we go, that's the cross they were looking for as Mowgli falls before his very eyes, and he's the last man left standing. There we go, gets one for himself, but 3 more to go through in 25 seconds. It simply is not happening.
Bibu managed to take out Naif there. I think he knows that there's somebody in behind the boxes. He's just trying to bait it out, but as he steps around the corner, it's ultimately going to be Tyrant from inside a site that's able to take him down, and that's going to be MNM going 6-5 on the scoreboard. They have the opportunity now. They're on defence. This really is in their hands to lose.
I can't decide if I didn't like the sound of that T95 because of the headsets and the way I've got them like turned up or down, or if it was just like I've never played with it with a suppress. What I've ever done to make it not sound like that?
I don't know. I can't say as I've ever...
It's like one of those uncomfortable sounds that just makes you feel a bit on edge.
Yeah, I can't say as I've ever had an issue with it.
No.
It's never been like nails on
That's what the thing is. I play Ying. That's why I'm kind of confused.
Yeah.
I don't know why it got me so much, but it did. It bothered me deeply.
I can see. Right, Des, we're going to be playing just on the side of Memorial this time. Memorial.
Right. Why is it called Memorial?
Has been prepared off to the right-hand side.
Red light, let's take a look at this room. Why is it called a Memorial?
Just have another look at Memorial, and if I say it enough times, it might stick.
Mausoleum.
That's Memorial. I don't know.
But why?
The thing is, there's a lot of stuff under sheets in there that we can't really see. So, you know, we don't necessarily know exactly what is there.
Oh, let's call that living room then. Could be a sofa under there. Could be a storage cabinet. Call it living room.
Could be a car.
Could be a TV. A very weirdly shaped one, but it could be in there.
Could be anything.
So why call it Memorial?
I don't know.
Why don't we just call it the mystery room?
I can't give you an answer. I'm sure that there
What's
is
under
one
the
there
sheets, Tim?
somewhere,
Ooh.
It's like there's a little hidden Tachanka for anybody who doesn't know on this map as well.
Yeah.
Go and find him.
Yeah, there's also the...
Give you a clue, you've got to shoot something open to find it.
And the Assassin's Creed
There is an Assassin's Creed logo on the fountain.
It is a very Assassin's Creed themed map.
It is. It's you know, it's
great.
It's in the sort of right region for it and everything else. We're going to have the impact trick coming out from Nath there as the Selma Chargers were on the pantry wall there, just trying to open up that line of sight that we spoke about earlier. Nath's got another impact nade in pocket, so they really do need to deal with him because at the minute, you know, they do have another opportunity to try and get the Selma charge on the wall, but Chinka's only got 3 of them. You know, you can't keep just burning and burning them. And if he loses another one, he's then got to make a choice. Does he open that line of sight or does he open the triple wall in Master to get vertical control, for example?
Now, once he's out of impact nades, Tim, he has to become the impact Nath to get his team over the line, 7-5. Just a reminder again, this does not change the standings for either team in any particular way. MNM will stay in second place. Wolves will stay outside of the top 3 and have to fight their way in through the open qualifiers, which I believe are this weekend, are they not?
I think so.
Fresh. When are the next open qualifiers? This weekend. There you go, Saturday.
Yeah, I thought they were. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to... I always like open qualifiers and as such, just a real opportunity to, you know, have a look at those new teams, new players, you know, get people on a bit of a stage and just see what they're capable of, and obviously get an idea of what we might be seeing in the last chance qualifiers as well.
I just like the upsets, I do.
Yeah, this is it. I'm sort of here for all of it. I really like open qualifiers.
Used to run some chaotic community broadcasts for those. 10 people on a call, all with the webcams on. It was brilliant. Sheer chaos. Not much chaos in this round so far. As you can see, no one has gone down on either side, though. MNM, 50 seconds to hold out here for them to be able to claim this one as a 7-5 win. Wolves, no doubt, looking to keep it going, and just wasn't quite ready for the gunfight. Didn't expect to see someone there. Moore was just admiring the patchwork on the stairs, but Solotov was there ready and waiting and strikes back. C4 up into Astro. No one to be found. Shots going back and forth as both Shinka and Mowgli go dangerously low. One of them now taken out.
Pretty one-dimensional push this is turning into now, just having to go into sight, but P4 manages to take down 2, make it 3. Does take some damage though. Look at Shinka, look at P4. Shinka is going to be taken out first, leaving us now 2v2, and Solotov has managed to keep hold of the vertical, and that could be a real danger. Sorry, it's Tyrant that's actually up above. Solotov is waiting, ready to pounce. That's exactly what he'll do. Bibu, no real option but to stick it. Tyrant finds the final kill, and it's going to be MNM taking the win into tomorrow's decider match, and a great finish to the group stages for them.
I think an expected result in terms of the 3 points. Maybe not expected it to be that close either. Like, I think Wolves, given the stage they've had, they still remain winless. They've only lost in overtime twice to have 2 points. So for them to battle back and be, I think, at a